What's going on, you guys? I eat a lot of lentils. I like lentils more than beans. People ask me what are my staples. Lentils are definitely one of my staples. I have a handful of them, but little hack here, you guys. A lot of people like vegetable broth, and that's fine. I love vegetable broth. I save my scraps of vegetables to make vegetable broth with frequently. It's something that I consume when I'm fasting. It's something that I consume a lot of during the winter months, but one of the best broths you'll ever eat or drink, you guys, is lentil broth. So when you boil your lentils, I soak my lentils first and then I boil them. A little bit of salt, a little bit of garlic powder, and a little bit of paprika. But when you cook lentils, it releases a lot of the flavor into the water, and this broth is so absolutely yummy. This is the type of stuff that you want to be drinking during the winter months. This is the type of stuff that I like to drink when I do certain forms of fasting where I'm not worried about the caloric content. And yes, I've received comments and I agree. Fasting by definition is only fasting when you abstain from all calories, and the only way to do that really is water and a little bit of certain teas. But during the winter months, you guys, when I do certain fasts, I consume some of the lentil broth, the vegetable broth, and the bean broth. But the lentils have the best taste. They have a very savory taste. This is something that everyone should try if you're interested. And it allows you to kill two birds with one stone, so to speak, because you've got the delicious lentils to eat, and then you've got the beautiful fluid that's just full of minerals. This has iron in it, you guys. This has protein in it. It's got some good carbs, and it's just overall a pretty good food. I'm not saying that lentils are a complete food because they're not, but they're definitely a good way of getting some calories in, some beneficial calories. So, again, you guys, just a brief little tip. Always soak your lentils if you can for about 6 hours. At least I like to, 2 to 6 hours before you cook them, and then cook the lentils with some water and I put about a teaspoon of salt in this. I've drained a lot of this off, but I put about a teaspoon of salt in this batch of lentils. I put in probably 2 teaspoons of paprika and a teaspoon of garlic powder. And I used the smoked applewood sea salt that you can find in my Amazon store by following the link below. And if you guys, you don't technically have to soak the lentils. What you will find, however, is that they digest a little bit better if you do soak them, but you'll get more flavor out of the lentils if you don't soak them. And no, that wasn't a verbal slip up. You will get more flavor out of them if you don't soak them, because it will naturally take a little bit longer for the lentils to cook if you don't soak them, and because of that, it'll leach more of the flavor into the water. But either way, it's delicious. Just a brief little tip, you guys. Again, if you're interested in supporting me, I have an Amazon store that I just launched where you can find a lot of the products that I recommend, including the salt that I just talked about and the paprika and the spices, as well as filters. If you go onto the Amazon store through the link in my description box and buy items, I get a little bit of that. It helps me broadcast my message. I also have links to my Patreon page and whatnot in the description box. But just a brief little tip, you guys. Delicious broth. Don't throw the broth away. When you boil beans, save the broth. When you boil lentils, definitely save the broth, because the lentil broth tastes even better than the bean broth. And bean broth and lentil broth are two things that many people don't know about. Hands down, taste much better than veggies or vegetable broth. So, just a brief little tip, you guys. I'm out.